Drop it on them random.
What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of That Time in Hip Hop, a podcast about nostalgia, the history, the rumors, whatever it may be. It's all about reminiscing and giving you some facts and some rumors about things that happen in hip hop, from albums to artists, whatever it may be. You know what I'm saying? It's a good learning tool for those who wasn't there, and it's a dope trip down memory lane for those who were. I am your host, Vegas of Hip Hop Now Podcast. I got with me my right-hand man, Tone of IntoTheDome.com. What's good, fam?
Nothing much, brother. Sipping some water today.
All right. Water it is. I've been drinking a lot of water, man. I dropped 17 pounds, man. Got to keep going.
Okay.
Got to keep it going. You know, I'm getting there. So by the time we hit the springtime, summertime, you know, be in the t-shirt looking right. But if you're tuning in for the first time, please know we do this all the time here on the B-Roll Network. So all you got to do is hit that subscribe button and you're locked in. You'll get notifications about new videos here on the channel. If you're a returning viewer or listener to the audio version, we appreciate your business. Make sure to comment on the videos, and most importantly, share it with people you know enjoy this kind of content. Now, we're going to get right into it. We're going to get right into a segment we like to call This Week in Hip Hop. And in This Week in Hip Hop, November 5th, 1996, Tupac's final and fifth album release, Machiavelli, Don Illuminati, the 7-Day Theory, was released. You know what I'm saying? This was right after Pac had passed, basically, and we got this album. Tone, 1996, November 5th. It's like, to us at this moment, this is the last Tupac album we'll ever get. At least that's what we're thinking. What were your thoughts on this album and the time it was released?
And I was hurt, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, real talk, you know, I'm a rising junior in college. You know what I'm saying? So I'm basically a grown man. So I was a big Tupac fan. And, you know, it was just that before then, you know, we didn't lose too many rappers to violence like that. I mean, of course, years following, it almost became the norm. But at the time when Pac got killed, you know, before that, it was like Stop the Rock, you know, as far as like, right now. So, you know, it was bittersweet, man, and you know, for fans, you really couldn't believe he was dead. You know, that's why the rumors of, you know, Pac in Cuba, Pac in the Bahamas, Pac is here. You know, unfortunately, young man was dead at 25 years old, man, and you just couldn't believe it. So hearing the album, it was so angry. You know, as far as it started off with Bomb First.
Yeah.
And he went very hard at the East Coast, of course, and he ended the album with Against All Odds. You know, and he's going odds real hard, big, and a lot of the people that he thought was part of him getting robbed and shot at Quiet Studio. He named Jimmy Henchman, he named Haitian Jack, he named a couple other guys who he felt was involved. So it was angry. Then he had the inspirational tracks on there. It was kind of all over the place, to be honest with you, but it had a classic impact, man. And you know, just still can't believe that was going to be the end of him making music and him living, more important than the music, of course. But yeah, man, I was sad, man.
Yeah, I mean, me too, man. It was crazy because I remember, like, right before that joint came out, I think the I Ain't Mad at You video came out. And, you know, that joint, like, really made it bad because it was like, here's Tupac in this video doing a scene where he's shot and killed, and he's in heaven with Marvin Gaye and all these past music legends and people like that. And, you know, and he's gone. You know what I'm saying? You know, Tupac is dead. And then you get this album. And, you know, like you said, it was clearly a snapshot at a time that, you know, what was going on. But, you know, obviously when Tupac was making his album, you know, he didn't realize that he would actually be dead at this point, but it was just kind of crazy to hear because you're listening, you know, you listening to, you know, basically a bunch of diss records on some of the tracks, and it just had a different feeling. You know, we probably would have took this album totally different had Tupac had lived, you know what I'm saying, or hadn't got shot at all. We would have looked at it completely different. But because he was gone, it was just like, you know, like you were just watching something from the past, man. But nevertheless, when I hit play on that joint and Bomb first came on, and I was just like, man, he went out with some heat, because this album is dope. Like, if you never found yourself to be a Tupac fan, or you like songs here and there, this is one of those that, amongst others, of course, that I would recommend as far as like somebody who's at the height of their powers, as far as a rapper, an MC, energy wise, really personifying me against the world more than anything on this album. But yeah, Bomb First, Hail Mary got to be one of the dopest beats and hooks and songs I've ever heard. Like, every time it come on now, I just be like, yo, this was a crazy record at the time. This was ill. But probably my favorite track is Against All Odds, because the way Pac is rhyming on that shit, and this is the realest shit I ever wrote. Like,
yeah,
just really dope. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I mean, and when I went back and revisited the album, don't get me wrong, I thought it was dope when it came out. I do feel like it's all over the place because of various subject matters.
Yeah.
But he's getting who he is because he was a complicated person. So he would do Bomb First, and then he would do White Man's World. You know what I mean? And have the deep, poetic, you know, conscious track like that. And he would do Me and My Girlfriend, and, you know, and Crazy. But then he'd do something like Toss It Up and Just Like That, because he also had the chicks too. You know what I'm saying? So he gave you the battle Bomb First and Against All Odds. He gave you the White Man's World and the Crazy, and, you know, and like I said, he gave you the track from the chicks. So it was really just Pac being Pac, man. And, you know, to end that with Against All Odds, man. I mean, I had a debate recently on Facebook that Against All Odds is actually a better diss song to me than Hit 'Em Up. And I know a lot of people really, you know, because Hit 'Em Up was angry, unfocused to me, bunch of talking, Outlaws rhyme more than Pac did on there. But Against All Odds was very calculated. It felt like he really sat down and penned that diss, for exactly what he wanted to say. He even had little ad-libs in there when he said something about Nas too, like, you don't sound like Rakim, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he was like De La Soul. Look at De La Soul. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was saying stuff in the background. It's like he crafted that to really hit a lot of people. On the music industry side and some of his personal rivals that he had in New York during '94 before he got locked up. So, yeah, man, I mean, it was a raw album. You know, you always think of after that, because he went from All Eyes on Me when he came to Death Row to Machiavelli. So, man, what was that album going to be like after Machiavelli? Because he had so much material. Maybe he had another double CD coming.
Yeah,
you know.
So.
It was a 5-mic impact, nevertheless. Whether you think it's a classic or not, it had classic impact because Pac is kind of like James Dean. He was a handsome guy who got killed early, who the dudes liked and rocked with, the women liked because of his features or whatever case may be. He was being real. He had the love from both. So, and he didn't get a chance to make too many mistakes as far as musically because he died at the height of his career. He was the king of the West Coast, really, when he died.
Yeah. So for any, well, go ahead.
No. That's pretty much it, man. It's just a sad time, but you also are glad that someone who's a workaholic was able to leave an album like that and leave a lot of more music after he was gone.
Yeah, man. And for anybody who maybe you were too young when all of this went down, and you know, you kind of hear about the whole East Coast West Coast beef and what happened and who did what and the music that was involved, or anybody who just wasn't really into hip hop at that time but always heard about it, if you want to hear a record or album that kind of sums up the energy that surrounded the whole Bad Boy versus Death Row and Suge versus Diddy and all, you know, Dre not being around anymore. Like, if you just want a nice focused snapshot into that, you know, this album has a lot of that there. But you know, unfortunately, it came out after Tupac was already murdered and died in a hospital. So check it out, man. It's the 22-year anniversary of Don Killuminati, the 7-Day Theory, man. 22 years ago, this album dropped. It is a hip hop classic, like Tone just said, man. It's definitely worth your time, even if it's just to check it out. You know, even if you're not a fan, just to check it out. But we're gonna get into the main part of the show right now, where you know, we talk about the topic at hand, and trust me, we make sure everything is kind of relative and kind of works, man. And Tone, tell them what we talking about today, because this is a part of hip hop that, you know, maybe it doesn't happen as much anymore, and maybe we can get into why and how. But definitely going to look at, you know, one of the legends in the game who was perfect at crafting lyrics around this style of hip hop.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, this time in hip hop is when rap music kind of went to the graveyard, man. Rap music kind of went to church. Rap music kind of went to the funeral home. And what I mean by that is that time when Scarface dropped, I seen a man die. So, yeah, just real quick for some people. There's two names to the song. Never seen a man cry, and I seen a man die.
Yeah.
That's even though you do the research on the song, he used both of that when Scarface released that song on his classic 1994 album, The Diary.
Yeah.
So Scarface to me was the first MC when I heard that song that made me look at life, mortality, and just spirituality on a different level, you know what I mean, as opposed to anything I heard before that. Because before that, you know, at one point, hip hop was a lot about fun in the 80s and partying and things of that nature. Of course, you had the serious songs and the message about Flash and Melly Mel. Of course, you had some songs like Public Enemy and these serious songs, but no song to me captured life and death in the same manner that Scarface would do. We know Tupac eventually started doing that, but when I heard man cry, man die, I was like, man, it was grim, it was dark, it was chilling. You know, you see the video and it showed when the guy's trying to hold on to life, and Scarface is like the Grim Reaper sits in a hospital bed, in a hospital room, excuse me, telling him basically, you can go ahead and let go, man. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Go ahead and walk with you. You know, and when the guy finally passed away in the video, Scarface put a flower on top of him, and then it showed the spirit of the guy in Scarface in all black walking away to the tunnel of life, tunnel of death type thing. He talked about the lyrics. And I was like, man, I had never seen nothing like that in hip hop at that time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, it's kind of scary, man. It's kind of, you were a young guy at the time watching this, and you know, when you're young, you think you're immortal. You know what I mean? And Scarface gave you some realism that you really wasn't ready for. I don't think hip hop was ready for it at that time. And during that same time, actually during that same month, Tupac dropped Thug Life Volume 1. And he had poured out a little liquor on there about dead homies, but then he had the song Cradle to the Grave. And I was like, oh, okay, now Pocket started to go in from revolutionary gangster to this kind of grim, vivid, poetic life and death type of MC that Scarface was doing at the same time.
Yeah.
And so both of them at that time was going that direction. But I see why, man, that's when it really started for me, man. Like, when you first heard that song, what did you think, babe?
Like, you know, I was like, when the album came out, I was already on it. But I felt like you, because I love the first album, Mr. Scarface is Back, just because of how gangster it is. So I kind of always looked at Scarface, even with the Ghetto Boys, as kind of providing that. And then when this album came out, it was just kind of dark. Like the covers kind of scary in a way. Like You know what I'm saying? Like some scary ass artwork. But for you old school cats, y'all remember Tales from the Dark Side? It used to come on. Like the intro to that used to scare the hell out of me. And that's what the cover reminded me of. But when I first heard the song, the first thing, even before I saw the video, the first thing I thought about was like, damn, Scarface sounds like he the Grim Reaper on here. Like, you know what I'm saying? The tone of his voice, the way he's rapping, like you said, it's kind of like, you know, I'm here to collect souls, you know, like kind of, and not even like an overly aggressive flow or like a rap flow. It was more like poetry, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it was grim, like you said. It was grim, and it was about death. And I kind of felt like, you know, it was the way you felt when you first heard rap lyrics that wasn't just party lyrics. When somebody actually made something that made sense. And, you know, it's one of those things that made you listen to them, you know what I'm saying? And like you said, you start to think about yourself, and even seeing a video like that, typically Scarface would have been the dude on the hospital bed, because that's how it was. Like rappers just like, yo, I'm the one going through everything, and the Grim Reaper's coming to visit me, but the Grim Reaper's Scarface. And it was just different, you know what I'm saying? It was just something you had never really seen. So for me, it just kind of made me be like, damn, Scarface is even better than I already thought. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I felt, like watching the video, man. But like you said, it kind of opened the door for rappers to expand their pen, basically, and write in different ways, like you said, with Tupac and others.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, and also I agree with you. First of all, I think he did open that door and made other MCs and groups feel comfortable being vulnerable. Because let's keep it real, you know, the average person don't want to go in there. Well, you want to live forever.
Yeah.
So, but Scarface is saying also, man, depending on the decisions you make, your time will be up faster.
Yeah.
You know, if you make bad decisions, I'm coming to see you faster. He is the Grim Reaper of hip hop. And on a side note, for readers, you can go intothe.com, and I have an article about Scarface called "The Grim Reaper of Hip Hop," and I go in very much detail about his place in hip hop and the way he perceived life and death. So that's just one of the things. But you know, I think the doors were open for a year later. Bone Thugs dropped the Crossroads.
Yeah.
You know, and Eazy had passed away, and there was a dedication song to Eazy-E. And when you look at the video, the Grim Reaper, basically death or what have you, is the tall guy in the black. He comes to see one of Bone Thugs' uncles. He comes to see, you know, different people depicted in the video. And at the end, it shows them walking up the mountain, and you see him carrying a baby that passed away, and a lot of people that died, and it shows Eazy at the end at the top of the mountain, and we're kind of looking down, you know, kind of looking like I'm okay. You know what I'm saying? And that was one of the things that I feel like Scarface is one of the reasons why a song like Crossroads could take off, because death is a part of life. Hip hop is art and life. They do coincide, and I think that
now what I'm almost positive, even though it kind of came out all around the same time, I'm almost positive that a lot of what Scarface was doing, because to be honest, we all know Scarface was kind of already in that lane on Mind's Playing Tricks on Me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He was kind of already there on certain records where he would hint at it. It's just that this song was so much a captivating record for what it was, that, you know, it was kind of him putting a stamp on it, like about, you know, mortality and, you know, people dying and stuff like that. But in the early 90s, though, there was a movement, you know, and, you know, whether it was sparked by him, Scarface definitely did it the best. A lot of rappers started to just take a whole persona that was basically dubbed horrorcore at a certain point. Like in 1994, even though this group didn't really make it, they didn't really put out music that was that good. Kind of reminded you of Onyx a little bit. They were on Def Jam, mainly because one of the members was Russell Simmons' nephew. Is a group called the Flatliners. They came out in 1994, straight horrorcore. You know, more along the lines of like what is it, metal or whatever, where it's a lot of satanic talk and stuff like that. But they were rappers, and then obviously you had Grave Diggers and other songs like that that kind of had this horrorcore movement that I think, in retrospect, Scarface really did it the best because you can relate to it more. You know what I'm saying? It was real. It was just one of those records that, you know, when you look at that whole early 90s horrorcore movement that really just lasted maybe not even as long as disco lasted, you know what I'm saying? Was just like a snapshot in time. But when, you know, you heard the Scarface record, it was different. You know, obviously Crossroads and other records came out, but when hip hop had that little moment of horrorcore rap, did you feel like this was a new genre, a new wave that was going to take over? Did you feel like, you know, maybe it was a phase in the history of hip hop?
Well, you know, when I think about like the Grave Diggers and some of those guys, I thought that was just gonna be a little moment, you know, a little fad type thing. The Scarface reality rap, I knew was going to be his style of reality rap was going to continue in the hip hop next few decades or what have you, and it did. You know what I mean? Because it was authentic and it wasn't like a gimmick. You know, some of those other groups, even some of the little Redman, dark tracks and stuff, you know, oh, that was just gimmick, having fun with it. Russell did some of that stuff, the great whatever. But when Scarface did that, like I said, out there you had Bone Thugs, and then I remember you had Immortal Technique had this song "Dance with the Devil," very vivid and raw, you know, and Eminem had Kim, and DMX had Damien, and, you know, and so you had this influx of those type of songs, but those artists were more than just that gimmick. They were vivid in their stories and very diverse in themes. But horror kind of rap that you speak of, I figured that would be kind of short-lived, and it really was. You would hear a song here and there by artists, you know, but that wasn't gonna last because it kind of beginning. Scarface set it off because before Scarface, there were songs about death, but it was more like dedication songs, like when Pete Rock and CL Smooth did Troy.
Yeah,
you know, it was about death, but not in the same vivid, you know, context. It's more like this person passed away, we're showing love to this person. You know what I'm saying? So it was still kind of light. Scarface made it dark, you know, and like I said, after that, you know, and then let me just say this real quick. The reason why Scarface the king of this, because for any listeners, he also had a song, the last track on his album, Last of a Dying Breed, he had a song called In My Time. And In My Time, he's rapping about his funeral. And it's probably the most vivid and grim rap song I've heard, and I've been listening to hip hop since '85. You know, I've never heard a song so vivid. He talked about his family that at the front row of the funeral. He talking about when he was laid in the ground. He was talking about the horns. He was just talking about telling his family to shed no tears. You know what I mean? It was just, I tell you, go to YouTube for any listeners and put in, first of all, a Next Man Cry. And then put it In My Time by Vega. Now talking about Scarface could have been a fix of that genre of hip hop. He is the Grim Reaper of hip hop.
Yeah, I think one thing about this record and Scarface, like history of making these kinds of records, shows that, like you said, the horrorcore thing, even though you still had artists that carried it on, you know, on the low, like this dude Necro, and I feel like Eminem's Relapse that came out a couple of years back kind of reminded, it was kind of in that lane because he was kind of playing a serial killer for the most part with some of them joints. But I kind of feel like what Scarface did was different. It wasn't gimmicky. He wasn't trying to be the Undertaker like it was WWE. He, like you said, he was just making reality rap, but he wasn't jazzing it up. He was making it what it was, like, yo, it's death. So I'm rhyming like this. The beat is like this. It's grim. It's scary. You feel uncertain listening to it. But it's a reality you have to deal with. And what's dope about that is that can be done on anybody's album. You know what I'm saying? Like what the Flatliners and what Gravediggers were doing was more so like, yo, just spit bars about death and everything evil and stuff like that, you know, and it was more like wordplay to it. Whereas what Scarface was doing, it was more like you said, Tone, everybody's going to go at one point or another. And how that person views their own mortality is interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you have Scarface's version, but what if every rapper was required to talk about death and what it would be like for them? You know, what would that sound? Mm-hmm.
Right, because to me that challenges them to step out of their comfort zone instead of just telling like some little story that we know is make believe. Like for example, Eminem is a great storyteller in terms of he had a song called "Just the Two of Us," and he's actually he has his little daughter in the back of the car, and his baby, you know what I'm saying, and he drops her in the water, and he vividly tells a story about him killing her and throwing in the water and throwing his widows. You know what I mean? So that's kind of one of the things when somebody look at that as funny. Or like I said earlier, when DMX gets gaming, it's kind of dark and grim, always dark and hell is hot. But then you have that reality type of tone again, like what Tupac did, life goes on all lives on me. And it's like, okay, you know, it's about death and it's just talking about the reality of life. And of course, I ain't mad at you. But I was also looking just now at an underground rap group called the Boogie Monsters. We spoke about on an earlier show. And they had a song on here called Mark of the Beast and Old Man Jacob's Well and stuff like that. And they were kind of Christian rap, conscious rap. But you know, those two tracks right there, they kind of talking about life in that same kind of Scarface context.
Yeah.
You know, Nas being the vivid storyteller he is, when he did the song Dance on God's song for his mom, you know what I'm saying? He's talking about the life of his mom and he wish he could dance with her one more time. He even rapped about dancing with her in heaven. You know what I'm saying? And he also had a song like that, if I'm not mistaken, on Hip Hop Is Dead also. He was kind of talking about life like that. And I'm gonna try to find that song. But certain artists are not afraid to push that level because it is uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable to think about it for some people, to even think about, you know, a loved one dying, let alone themselves. You could think of other examples where it's kind of woven into songs like Biggie's Suicidal Thoughts. You know what I'm saying? The album was called Ready to Die. And when you call an album that and you kind of have a through line that kind of shows you this person's life and the different modes and things they went through, and it just ends with this dude dying, or even life after death, you know, dealing with it in that way with the album cover with Biggie basically dressed in a similar way to Scarface. Or you can look at go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I think you hit it right on the nail, right on the head, babe, because Biggie's was a violent type of imagination, because Ready to Die was basically a diary of his day or a time period, and suicidal. It started with him being born and it ended with him killing himself. You know, and Puffy was, because life is just so whatever. And Puffy was the voice of reason, like telling this dude, man, I'm on my way over there, man. Stop talking like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then, you know, it was very grim and blasphemous. You know the thing he was saying. He don't even want to go to heaven with the goody goodies. You know what I'm saying? Like, one of my teams in black hoodies, you know, whatever. So he was saying, man, y'all can have that. You know what I'm saying? I don't even want to go where it's that nice. So he was kind of making a mockery of it, very dark and grim. Again, he did rap like that song You Know About After Somebody Kill You, when he did that song on Life After Death.
Mm-hmm.
It was, or I mean, you know, the album cover is him in front of a hearse.
Yeah.
You know
And
what I'm saying?
again,
So
another cover where another cover and another album where you know this person is gone and look at what they're leaving you with, something that reminds you of death through them, you know.
very eerie, very eerie.
Very
Like
eerie.
I remember when I went and picked it up. You know what I'm saying? I was looking at the cover. And I was like, damn, man. Like, I mean, do you bring that energy? Like, you
Yeah.
start thinking to yourself because at the time I'm 21, I guess, or whatever. When Biggie died, you know, again, you guys, we're older, so we were grown when these things were happening, but we were young grown. You know what I mean? So me being a senior in college or whatever, I'm sitting there like, man, the energy is real. I'm a science guy. I do feel like at some point, I'm not saying you're inviting, but I'm saying energy kind of feeds off what you give out. You kind of get it back sometimes.
Yeah.
That's what any listeners gotta remember that. You know, a certain energy, man, you got to stay away from. You know, you can't invite that to your life like that, man. I kind of felt to a degree that Pac talked about death a lot. He talked his own death a lot. Biggie did that as well. See, Scarface, he didn't disrespect life and death the way I feel like some artists did. He would just give me a grim picture of what life can be. You know what I'm saying? If you do certain things, and he wanted to show you that, hey, I've even thought about my own mortality before. I'm just sharing it with you. But I think in a sense, man, he was doing it with respect.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not kind of making a mark out of ready to die, life after death. You know, all this kind of stuff like that. A lot of rappers were doing. You know what I'm saying? I felt like they were kind of young and naive to it. And I think Scarface was a mature MC even in his younger years saying, hey, I'm just showing you the real.
Yeah, I think he was compared to like the way Biggie looked at it, in the way like even Tupac looked at it. He was more comfortable with it, you know, like yo, this is what it is. Everybody goes, you go, I go. It's a part of life. It's a circle of life, you know. Whereas they were more so like, I don't want to be here no more. You know, F this, F that. I'm ready to die, blah, blah, blah. But
death around the corner.
Yeah, death around the corner. It's kind of like, you know, like you said, it's a respect thing. And it's like they didn't really, you know, like you felt like this is a person who says they're ready to die, who's not really ready to die. But given the circumstances, they feel like that's all they have left. Whereas Scarface is like, he don't care if your life is happy, sad, bad, rich, poor, or whatever. You're going to die one day.
That's right.
And this is how it works. And, you know, just come to terms with it. And I think that's what made him stand out. Like another play on that whole theme, which is probably a little bit more fun, but still dealing with death, is 24 Hours to Live off of Mace's album with Mace. And
very dope track, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, you know, yeah, it seems dope, but they're really talking about, you know, they're going to be dead in 24 hours. You know what I'm saying? So what would you do if you knew you would be dead in 24 hours? And I thought it was a dope play on it. But again, you know, it just seems like for every example we come up with, Scarface is the closest to, like you said, where it's like reality. Besides Crossroads.
Let me say this too, man. Just going back to this face again, I just want to say these 3 lines that I wrote down earlier, because again, this is that reality. When Scarface says, I hear you breathing, but your heart no longer sounds strong. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're scared of death, but you hold on. You know what I'm saying? Now he's saying that the life you live will reflect in your mother's face. Now think about that, man. Like this guy got out of jail, he did something stupid, got himself killed, and now like you can visualize someone's mother. You see this in churches all over America, unfortunately. You see that mother sitting there like, and she's just drained because her young son is in this casket. Parents never want to bury their children.
Yeah.
Then you thinking about, man, my son made all these bad mistakes. So Scarface is saying the life you live will reflect in your mother's face.
Yeah.
So you let your mother down by being in the streets like that. That's that reality that Scarface talking about. Again, your death has hurt your mom in ways that she'll never recover.
Mm.
You know what I mean? She probably help herself because of your death. You know what I mean? So it's just one of them things. Another thing, it's just like that karma, man. Again, Scarface was talking about karma on that man died also. And you look at Biggie and Pac, for example, I don't want to say karma, I'm just saying the energy again.
Yeah.
And so, man, Face had some lines on that song, man, and it just so me, and I won't say a lot of them, man, but it brought me back to that, man. And I tell you, this dude really, he could write a horror book, man.
Yeah.
And he could write a book on I love to read like a memoir of Scarface because I feel like his vulnerability has possibly made him, to me, probably one of the top 10 MCs of all time, man.
Yeah, and a very, very, very slept on storyteller in the history of hip hop. I think what we kind of unearthed in this conversation is, and this is just a small portion of what he's given the game, but there's something that he's given the game, and he's been like one of the best, if not the best at it. And obviously meant all the people we named in some shape or form were influenced by what he was doing, because no one was doing it like that. You know what I'm saying? Of course, everybody was doing their version of it. But there was a time where rappers just wasn't rapping like that. That was considered a no-no, because, you know what I'm saying, it's kind of, maybe it's like boring. Maybe it's not, entertaining to some people. But that's the thing about the early 90s of hip hop, and why you always hear the old heads getting a little angry with hip hop today is because every artist, for the most part, you can tell they thought about their projects. They thought about their records.
Right.
And it made you feel like it was worth your time to listen, because it was worth their time to even write it or create it. But Tone, like, this is the thing, right? This thing has happened so much in hip hop now, it's probably hard to identify, because it's just normal to kind of have somebody talk about dying and not caring, or whatever the case may be. But do you think that it could ever get to that level again that Scarface had it, where, because look, this is the other thing that people need to remember that you said earlier. This was a single with a video.
Right.
This would never be a single in the Bad Boy era, where everything had to be radio. It wouldn't be a single now. Like, it's too grim. But it was a single with a video, and it was an extremely popular record. So do you think 2018 and beyond, could some artists, or maybe even Scarface again, could someone come out with a record similar to that again and be successful with it?
Well, before I answer that, let me also say this. When the diary came and Never Seen the Man Cry was the first single, right? Like you said, who would have done that as a single in the video? Well, hell, the second video was Hand in a Dead Body.
Yeah, yeah.
And one of the lines is gangsters don't live that long. You know what I'm saying? So it's very vivid. It's also about be stupid, you be killed. So the first two songs was a grill. So nobody could do that for Scarface to me. Now we fast forward to 2018. Only the vivid storytellers could do it. So again, Scarface could do it again. I mean, he's still putting out great music, great albums in this era, and so he could do it again. I do believe Nas could do it, because Nas is so vivid with the storytelling. Absolutely could do it again. I mean, on Play On Hip Hop Is Dead, he rapped about dying. He rapped about his funeral and his daughter being at his funeral and things of that nature like that. So he did that's a song, Play On with Snoop Dogg on Hip Hop Is Dead. So he's kind of rapped about that before, and he could absolutely do it now. Yeah, more than something like I said, could do it again, because he had that Dance with the Devil that was very grim. He could do it. A focused Eminem could do it. Joe Budden could do it. I was referencing Joe Budden's song, Black Cloud. Check that out. Anyone listening, Joe Budden, Black Cloud. So Joe could do it. Those are the ones that come to mind to me. That could do it. DMX could do it. Um, so those kind of guys could do it, and it would still sound authentic.
Yeah.
But I would caution a lot of other MCs, if you're not serious with it, don't make a mockery out of it. It'll sound like a gimmick. But the guys that I name, I do believe they could do it sincerely, and it would be potent. It will be believable, and I think people will respect the message they're trying to convey because they won't be trying to glorify it. You know, Scarface doesn't glorify death in the way Big actually did on some of their music. Scarface said, like you said perfectly, hey, we live and die, man. So live the best life you can to understand that, you know, regardless of what level of life you're at the end of the day, you're going to have to say goodbye. Your loved ones going to have to say goodbye to you.
Yeah.
And so that takes a special skill for that to sound pure in a sense without trying to make it seem glamorous to die.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what you get in more recent times is that's the thing you do more than anything is like, you know, I'm ready to go out and blah, 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 and bury me in this and that.
It's not sincere.
Yeah.
It's not, it makes me think back on 1990. I think this Gangsta album, The Moment of Truth, when Guru had this song Eulogy. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, very deep, you know, and talking about life and death and rest in peace to Guru. He was a serious MC. And of course, if he was alive, he'd be another person who made a song like Eulogy again from Moment of Truth is believable. You know, Prodigy, rest in peace to Prodigy. I just want to say this real quick. Veterans Memorial. It was about life and death and losing his friends, losing his grandparents. At the end of the song, him and some of the guys, I think his mom was saying rest in peace, and they was naming all these different people that was in their lives. You know what I'm saying? Mom, grandma, granddad, yada, yada, yada. Prodigy had that same spirit and soul that he could have a song like Veterans Memorial, and it was believable. He wasn't glorifying it. You know, when he said you can never feel my pain on the HNIC, he wasn't glorifying his pain and eventual death. He was letting you know, man, y'all don't understand what I'm going through.
Yeah. Yeah. And
you know, some days I'm in pain all day.
Yeah, and I think of a lot of people sometimes look at hip hop content as strictly entertainment, because you know they really only follow radio friendly singles that tend to not really have much to say. But there's so much hip hop, and not just from the early 90s, but so much hip hop like Seen a Man Die, that really make you think, you know, as an individual, as you listen to it and really stick with you. Like, you know, like when he did the song with Tupac, Smile. That's another record that,
yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. Smile.
You know, that record just fills you with that emotion of, you know, one of Tupac's greatest features, like, also came out after he died. Like, Tupac was at the height of his powers, but it was really dope to just see them come together and kind of do that on that same level, man. And Scarface kind of really set the tone, man. He set the tone of the way you should look at reality rap and really try to give you a conscious message without really like being preachy with it. You know, by talking about himself, by talking about others, and it never came across in a way. It came across as a wise man talking, you know what I'm saying, or rapping in this case. Yeah.
And one more quick thing on Scarface, as far as like moving to one of his albums after the Diary was The Fix. He had a song on there called Someday with Faith Evans that was still about life and death, and it was to me it was a celebration of life. It wasn't as great, but it was about life and death nevertheless. Then it had a song with Trailer Price called Heaven. You know what I'm saying? The Fix. So that was just Scarface again, bringing it back home, bringing it back to church, also bringing it back to, you know, the reality and mortality of all. So again, he was consistent with this. He had done it pretty much his whole career, but I think it really got to the apex of that style on the Diary, and then they kept going on the Fix and Last of the Dying Breed, and and other albums that he's had. But that's when it really went skyrocketing. I'm gonna master this style and this genre, and I'm gonna bring a whole new visual of how I look at life and how, again, like you said, hip hop is vast. Hip hop is very diverse. Probably not just gangster rap or party rap or sex rap, drug rap, whatever the case, however you want to describe it. But hip hop is life also. Like Mos Def said on Black on Both Sides, hip hop is us, and whatever happened with us happened to hip hop. And Scarface talking about death because you see a lot of death from a lot of people who were living wrong.
Yeah, and it's inevitable. So, one day your favorite MC will not be here anymore. It's just inevitable for all of us. But to you guys who are watching, to you guys who are listening, were you around when this song dropped, when the album dropped? Leave your comments in the comment section below about Scarface, about the album, about the history of these types of mortality raps, reality raps, whatever have you, and your general opinion on it. We like to know. We obviously will definitely chime in the comment section, let you know how we felt, in further detail. But still a very dope record, one of those records that probably get forgotten because rap has changed so much within a short span of time, even in the 90s, that it could easily be forgotten of how much of an impact that record by Scarface kind of had on his peers as well as hip hop fans. But now we're going to get to the point in the show where we recommend an album or mixtape or whatever it may be that you should go back and check out, whether you stream it, buy it, whatever the case, download it, whatever you do. And fittingly, the name of the album that I chose to recommend to you is M.o.p's debut album, To the Death. A lot of people kind of skip over it for whatever crazy reason, and maybe it has to do with the production that was on Firing Squad, but Firing Squad is their sophomore album. To the Death is M.o.p's debut album, led by the single How About Some Hardcore. When I first heard that record, I was locked in. Not only is it exactly what Brooklyn is, as far as the beat, the flows, the video, but it was just it was like a different kind of hardcore hip hop. You know what I'm saying? It was hard to put into words. And I remember buying the album because it was something about them dudes, because they could rhyme, but it was like real hardcore. Standout tracks on here: Rugged Never Smooth, Heist Masters, Blue Steel, To the Death was a dope one. Drama Lord, I just kind of like the vibe of that joint. Obviously, How About Some Hardcore, and Guns N' Roses. 15 tracks on here. Rugged, like boom bap beats. This joint was released in 1994 again, with Scarface is out, Flatliners, Horrorcore, and these cats put an album called To the Death. Hip hop was really on a death kick in 94. Like, damn, you know what I'm saying? But crazy dope album, man. Just, it's, if you like M.o.p. and you haven't heard this joint, because maybe you remember Annie Up and you only go forward, it is difficult to find digitally. Like, you can buy the CD on Amazon, but digitally it's incredibly difficult to find on any streaming service. So you really got to dig for it, but it's definitely worth your time. It's M.o.p. at the very beginning. Tone, this album, you can say a couple of words on it before you give your recommendation. What did you think about M.o.p.'s debut album, To the Death?
Well, again, I heard How About Some Hardcore, the mixtape, and that beat came on. I was like, whew.
Yeah.
They have the energy, the voice. They have a nice back and forth style. I like the way they'll say something ill and one of them might laugh a little bit in the background because they just know it's dope. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But yeah, man, M.o.p. debut was dope. And it's hardcore. It's New York, East Coast, mid '90s. You know, it's hard boom bap, and they never left that style, man.
Yeah.
Of course, they follow up have more production in terms it wasn't as basement 36 chambers to cow. It was more
Yeah.
Cuban links, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, hey, just dope hard hip hop. I still own the tape somewhere in this, and it's just dope, man. But my recommendation is 1982's Diamond D Stunts, Blunts, and Hip Hop. And look, Diamond D he used to always call himself the dopest producer on the mic. He used to always say that in his rhymes.
Yeah.
But Diamond D is an amazing producer, a real solid MC. He came out with this album, man. He had a lot of dope guest appearances from DITC on there. He had the song Best Kept Secret. He had a video for that. Very dope. New York video. Cats playing ball. You know what I'm saying? The hood, whatever. Just a dope video. He had a joint called Seven. Got a one-track mind. Really loved that song. Had a fine chick on there. Used to be on. She was on Above the Rim as Pop Girl. And she's been on a bunch of little videos back then, man. She's a hot, nice looking chick. He had a joint she loved called F What You Heard with Brand Nubians. You know what I'm saying? He had a song called Confused, Love Joint. He had a joint called I Went For Mine. That's my favorite song on the album, I Went For Mine. You know what I'm saying? But production was dope. Dope guest appearances. I mean, it was just real solid early 90s hip hop. Check that out. Very dope.
Definitely, man. Check that joint out. Also, check out the M.o.p. To the Death, Diamond D, Stunts, Blunts, and Hip Hop. Just two albums that personified what the 90s, the early 90s, the mid 90s was all about as far as the sound and the energy and the lyricism, more importantly. Let us know what you think about them joints if you've never heard them. But understand, man, it's about the listening experience from the beats to the rhymes when it comes to these types of recommendations. That's going to do it for us for this week, man. We hope you enjoyed the program. Definitely leave your comments in the comment sections. Whatever it may be, leave it there. We will definitely hit you back, let you know what's up. Also, subscribe to the channel to stay locked in so you can get them notifications every time we post a new episode. Like you can see in the background, we've been doing this for a while. And if you don't know, I mentioned how much pounds I lost. You can see it in that video. You know what I'm saying? And that wasn't that long ago. But we got like 20 episodes, 20 plus episodes or whatever, of just talking about different things, man, different albums, different moments in hip hop. So if you enjoyed this show, go ahead and binge. We only ask for an hour of your time. You know what I'm saying? No 2-3 hour podcast here. We get to the facts and we get about your life. You know what I'm saying? But you go away knowing you learned something, man. Also, you can check me out on my podcast, Hip Hop Now Podcast, which is all about hip hop news. You can visit intothedome.com and read some very dope articles, not only about hip hop, but a whole bunch of other genres and perspectives that Tone gives on artists that you want to check out. And also, Tone, like I know they're watching. You see it in the video in the back. They see it here, man. Can anybody get some of this merchandise you got, man? Because I ain't gonna front, man. The hoodie looking crazy, bro.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Well, yeah, last year I was selling merch and trying to jumpstart the dome. So yeah, we'll be looking into some of that in the spring again, my dude.
Okay, all right. So you heard it here first. Stay tuned to this channel, to this network, and to intothedome.com if you like the merchandise he been rocking for y'all. On behalf of myself, Vegas of Hip Hop Now Podcast, and Tone of intothedome.com, go out and support real hip hop. Peace.
Peace.
Drop it on the random.